Good morning, stamping friends. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's so nice to be back here in my studio just for a few days and I leave on another trip. In case you're new to my channel, my name is Lorri Heiling and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Well, as I said, we have been traveling pretty much this whole summer. I will be starting my 5th summer trip in a couple days and I'm off to a stamping retreat put on by one of my teammates, and it's near Madison, Wisconsin. So I'm looking forward to that, and actually I'm bringing some work along to try to get caught up around here. I love to travel. As you know, I used to work in the travel industry, and so when I retired from there and started stamping, I still wanted to keep traveling, but I have to say this summer has been a little bit over the edge, but it's been a lot of fun and we just couldn't say no to any of them. So anyway, that's the backstory. Well, I'm anxious to share with you a little project I came up with. However, I did case the sketch of it, and so I'll share that with you once I turn my camera around it as we go along. But I hope you enjoy this fun fold, and let's get started. The stamp set we are going to be playing with today is called Everyday Details. This actually comes with a bundle, but we are just going to use the stamp set today. I really like this stamp set because I like the variety of images. I love using my blends and doing some shading, and I also love that they have some really nice sentiments with this. Now, I also want to point out the note cards in the catalog. These are found on page 17. There is a graphic so you can at least see what they look like, and you get 20 cards and 20 envelopes. So there's 40 things in this pack, and it's only $10, and they're pre-scored, so they're ready to go. All you have to do is decorate them. And so these are just a really nice, great value for your money for how many you get. This is what the note card looks like, and I added a score line right here. The card front is actually 5 inches by 3.5 once you fold that, and I scored the front at 1 3/4 inches on the long side. Okay, so once you score that, it's actually going to be on the right side. So let's fold this note card in half. Got my bone folder and just crease on there, and then that's called a valley fold, and then we are going to do another valley fold, and this is going to go backwards like this. Okay, so that's the start of our fun fold. And I do have to let you know that I cased this card from Susan Campfield. She is one clever gal who does amazing fun fold cards. That's kind of her specialty. So I cased this from her and I shrunk it down to a note card size. So all my dimensions are going to be different from hers, but if you want the gist of how the card goes, you can go to her video, or in case you want to make this a full size card. All right, so that's our starting point. Now for the next part, I am going to set this aside and I'm going to give you all the measurements for all the pieces so you can gather these up before we even get started. Okay, first of all, we need a piece of designer series paper. This is from the In Color pack from 2024 to 2026. And this is going to be 4 3/4 by 3 1/4. Then we're going to need 2 pieces of basic white cardstock. These are 2 panels that are going to be used on this card, and these both measure 4 3/4 by 1.5 inch. You need 2 of these, and I did already emboss it with the exposed brick 3D embossing folder. The next size you're going to want is, this is 3 inches by 2 1/4, and then on the long side we're going to score this at 3/4 inch, 1.5 inches, and 2 1/4 inch. The next piece is basic white, and this is going to be 4 inches by 2 1/4 inches. The next cardstock piece that we need is, I used peach pie, and this is going to be 3 3/4 by 2.5. And the last piece you need to cut is basic white, and this will be 3.5 inches by 2 1/4 inch. So I will put these measurements on my YouTube page also so that you don't have to remember them and you can refer back to them. All right, so let's get started with the card now. We will start by decorating the back of our card, and we're going to take that piece of designer series paper. Again, this is 4 3/4 by 3 1/4, and we'll just use Stampin' Seal or Stampin' Seal Plus. I like using the Plus. I think it gives a little bit tighter hold to it. And just center that right on the back here. All right. The next thing we want to do is put on these 2 white panels. Now this, I'm going to have to be careful because I know there is writing in here, and I know I want to make sure that they aren't upside down because sometimes people will be OCD and see that it's upside down. Okay, I think that's right. It really doesn't matter. Okay, just add some adhesive on the back here. And this will just give it a little extra texture and just some interest. And we're just going to put them right in here, center them on these 2 columns. And now we are going to add that mechanism part. Now this is the cool part. Do you see where we folded here? We folded it in half and then we folded these back. And what we're going to do is put adhesive only on these 2 sides. I already added it here. And closest to the folded edge here. This is really neat because I used to, like I said, put this as a 4 panel and overlap. Now we're going to center the middle of this piece with the middle of the card and try to center it top to bottom as well. You're not going to see this piece, but we still want it centered like that. Okay, now that's what's going to give that little mechanism that's going to pop. You see that? I already added adhesive to this side. You want to put some adhesive on the left side. All right, now we're going to add the sentiment piece, and we're just going to place this edge next to this wall. And then mostly I'm looking at the top to bottom and centering it. And once you have that where you want it, just press really hard like that. And now you can see how that pops up that middle piece. Isn't that cool? All right, now we're going to work on the rest of the card. This is the 2 1/4 by 3 1/2, and we're going to take the image that we want to be the focal point, and we'll use Memento black ink because we are going to be using blends on here. Sometimes I like to ink it that way so I can make sure I got all the edges here and not part of that, because that makes a little, I call them ultrasounds, where there's black ink where you don't want them. And just center that on this piece. And then I'm going to show you all the blends that I used so you can see them all at one time. I used light and dark smoky slate. I used light granny apple green, light and dark balmy blue, and dark peach pie. All right, so now we're just going to start coloring, and I'll show you how I blend as well. Once you have that all covered, then you're going to want to adhere that to the cardstock base, which is peach pie. And we're not going to use any dimensionals on here because this card is actually getting thick enough without dimensionals. If you wanted, you could maybe cut another one of these and pop it, or maybe one of the flowers, but I'm just going to leave mine as is. Now we're going to grab our card, and we are going to adhere this just on the left side, and that way we won't tape our card shut. And then this piece is going to be layered, so it's going to be nicely bordered with the white that's underneath it, and that's going to make like another really cool layer. And so just add that here. And so when you are done, this is what it looks like. It unfolds like that. And I think we need just one more little embellishment. And so I'm going to grab some of my linen thread here, and it just needs one little embellishment here. I mean, you could go crazy. You could add some shimmer dots that are in color, or you could add some matte dots, resin dots. I'm just going to add a little bow, and I might be tempted to add another embellishment because I see that nice big flower there, and it's just screaming for an embellishment, so I might have to add that too. All right, so first let's make a tiny bow. The trick to making small bows is just by pulling the little loops to whatever size you want, and then we can make the, well, that's a little bit too long, I think. We'll trim these up a little bit. Grab a glue dot. And I will put that right there. And I just have to add an embellishment. Let's add the little iridescent foil gems. Pick up the peach a little bit, and I'm just going to use the smallest one, and I'm only going to add one right, whoops, there's a little piece of hair on there. Right there, just to dress that up. Okay, no more needed. If you want to go hog wild, add some to there, but I think that's it. All right, so let's set that aside. Here's our fun fold card. This is actually called a double-decker pop-out card, and isn't that fun? Oh, it's just so cute. All right, now I do want to point out the host code here. If there's any products that you would like, I would love it if you ordered from my Stampin' Up! Website. And if your order is over $50 before tax and shipping, I will send you a Stampin' Up! Gift. It is product, and I will also make you a thank you card. And that is my way of showing my appreciation for your orders. And then also, we do have room for kits in the Cozy Craft Retreat. I have a link on my blog. That is our holiday retreat, and we're making projects using the holiday mini catalog that will be out before you know it. And then also, there are only 3 spots left in my Creative Days at Sea. That is a cruise we are going on in February of 2025. You can bring other people along, your spouse, your loved one, your friends, relatives, but there's only 3 stamping spots left. So be sure to grab those spots before they're gone. I have links to that on my blog. I'll put them on my Facebook page as well. All right, well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining me, and I hope to see you next Tuesday morning. I do my YouTube lives on Tuesday mornings at 9 o'clock Arizona time, and I also have in-person classes the second week of each month, and I also do an online card club in case you don't live by me. And in July, the bundle we are using is called Seaside Wishes. So it's a beautiful stamp set, and I can't wait to create with that. All right, thanks again, guys, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.